if you've been to the doctor and you've tested positive for HIV, AIDS, or herpes, an incurable STD, they should automatically be required to put you into a database that can be searched nationally by anybody, so that they can know if the person they're dating or the person they're in a relationship with has HIV AIDS. Because they make sex offenders register, right? Nationally. You can't even buy a house if you're a sex offender. You on my fucking Ring camera. My Ring app will show you sex offenders in the area. It's insane.
You can't buy a house if you're a sex offender? I've never heard of that before in my entire life. Hey, somebody in the chat verify that. That may be a state by state thing or a county thing or something like that. I have never in my life heard of that. You can't buy a house if you're a sex offender?
Insane. But you mean to tell me the government still hasn't come up with a protocol to put something in place where people with HIV AIDS literally have to go into a database so that we can search it to see for ourselves? Are you really leaving it up to these people to tell their partners that they're HIV positive? Why do you think there's 20,000 new cases in Atlanta? Motherfuckers are not telling. And first of all, a lot of them are not getting tested. That's the problem. They don't even know they have it. They're just out here giving it away. But for the ones that do know they have it, they're not telling either. And that's really what's unfortunate, because hurt people.
Oh, they know. They know.
Will hurt people. So now they want to hurt everybody else because they're hurt. So why the fuck isn't the government taking it more seriously? Why isn't there a database where people automatically go into it? They don't have to register like a sex offender. You have to register yourself. Fuck that. No, the doctor office or wherever you get your test from, they need to be registering the people automatically as soon as they test positive, because it's not going to go away. It is what it is. It's incurable. That would alleviate so many issues with HIV AIDS, because people can, do their due diligence. I mean, still get your partner tested, of course. Go with your partner and get tested, but that would eliminate so much of the legwork. Just knowing if you've already been tested for it and it was positive.
I think that society and the culture is punished. Honestly, if you just really want to know. I mean, I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theorists that will sit there and tell you that, oh man, this is the government or all of this other type of stuff. At the end of the day, I think that people are just being punished for being extra promiscuous and doing things outside of God's order and God's way. Because you don't have to worry about this at large if you are a person that is not out here in these streets. And so to search a database on different people is not even a thing. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can debunk this. And I understand what she's saying, though. I understand what she's saying. What she basically saying is different people that's walking around with the hive and some incurable disease should be required to go into a database. I got 1,000 other things that people should do before that. But let's just stick with what she's saying and stick with her talking point. You know that first it would violate HIPAA laws because, nobody is required to disclose what their medical conditions are to the general public, let alone when you're talking about an organization or a hospital or a database or anything like that, right? I'm still perplexed at the idea that somebody that was put on a sex offenders list can't buy a home. Maybe they can't be within a certain distance to a school or something like that, depending on the crime that you commit. And even that, I think that even that is for a lot of situations because everybody didn't mess with a little kid, right? Some people got accused of something and some people got convicted of something that they wasn't supposed to get convicted of because they was afraid that they were going to get football numbers. And so they took the plea deal, which required them to register on a sex offenders list and all of this other type of stuff, right? And so even that, in my opinion, is still controversial. I do get what she's saying in that it's messed up out here. I keep hearing about it. I'm thankful that I'm not a part of it. I've been largely protected by the fact that I haven't been out here in these streets and I'm not messy. And so that's the blessing that comes along with being a person that's focused on what God tell them to do and not focus on what's happening out in these streets. But in addition to that, I think that there's a lot of people that is not even interested in getting tested. And so that would also debunk the whole situation where you're looking into a database. So let's say, for example, you look into a database and you're trying to figure out whether or not the person that you talking to is, HIV positive or they got herpes or something that's incurable. But if they don't go to the doctor, because it's a lot of people that know what they have and they won't go to the doctor because they don't want to be held liable for not telling the person that they give HIV or something to, and they just out here winging it. You'll be surprised how many women and how many dudes is out here dusty. You'll be surprised how many people is out here living a reckless lifestyle, and they know. They know when they go to the bathroom what's going on with them. They know what's wrong with they stuff. They know what they did and who they did it with, and they also familiar a lot of times with the fact that that person might have been in these streets and they still see it through. I remember I was talking to one guy one time, and some of y'all that's some OG listeners may be familiar with this. I was talking to one guy on a panel one time, and he told me, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago, might have been like 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more. Dog told me that he was in the clinic to go get tested for something that he thought he had, and he met another chick in there that clearly disclosed to him that she had chlamydia or she was just trying to get over chlamydia, and he still hit it and he felt like it was worth it. And I said, yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and stay out of the mix completely. If I ever had a thought that it didn't make sense for me to be out of the mix, you just confirmed it for me, sir, because ain't nothing good out here and ain't nothing for me out here. The only thing out here is the devil, honest to God. And so I'm very thankful, but I don't think that people would even go to the doctor or disclose it. There's a lot of people that self-diagnose and go and do their own form of a remedy in order to get rid of certain things. If you even walk past some of these female bathrooms in certain environments, you like, what in the devil is inside of that bathroom? You know what I'm saying? And so she's saying this, and I'm wondering if it's coming from a place of hurt. I'm going to assume for the sake of conversation that it's not coming from a place of hurt or a place of whatever. And then they coming out with new medications. And, I keep hearing about PrEP and people saying, no, I'm just taking it just in case so I could put, no, dog, I'm not going for it. I don't know nobody, and I mean nobody, and maybe my circle is just so small that I wouldn't know anybody. I don't know nobody that I don't know anybody that is voluntarily to take a medicine like PrEP and they not out here in these streets getting reckless. I don't care if you're a famous person. I don't care if you're just a regular person. I think that is just bad out here. And if you are in a position to where you can prevent yourself from having to deal with people that you otherwise wouldn't have to deal with because you afraid, and it's okay to be afraid of a venereal disease, or you just don't want to put yourself in certain positions. I think that you should follow your mind and make sure that you put yourself in this great position. Ain't nobody strapping up no more. I don't think they selling condoms like they used to. People, every time I go past the little area, even when you in Vegas and you look at the little area, like I usually stay at the Vidara, and I can look at the little area where they sell the little, medicines. They got the Cokes, they got the little snacks and stuff. And if you look over there in the condom area, it's full. It's full, and ain't nobody pulling on condoms down and paying for them and none of that type of stuff. But let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. And always giving credit to the content creator, regardless of whether I agree or not. So that'll be down in the description.